Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's great to see you for lunch on Thursday. This is an exciting lunch and learn we're bringing to you today. For those of you who do not know me, and I don't yet have the pleasure of knowing, my name is Jennifer Coffey, and I serve as the Executive Director of ANJAC, the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions. And we have with us today from ANJAC staff, Liz Ritter and Randy Rothmel. And we've got two great speakers that are going to be introduced to you momentarily. So we're excited to be here. At ANJAC, we do a lot of work about stormwater and flooding, and clean communities, healthy environments. So we're thrilled to be able to be here with you today. We have a very large audience for this lunch and learn. So we've got a new problem and a new opportunity that faces us today. We may not be able to get through all of the Q&A that you have. So what we're going to ask is that you post your questions using the Q&A, not the chat. Use the Q&A for your questions, please. And we'll try to remind you throughout the presentation. We will post links in the chat. And what we're going to do afterwards is collate all of your questions that you've posted in the Q&A and send out an FAQ so that you can have the information in front of you to refer back to. So again, please use the Q&A to post your questions for speakers or for ANJAC. I will answer one of the most common questions. Yes, this session is being recorded. Yes, we will post it on YouTube. And yes, we will send out the slides as PDFs afterwards. So if you missed this or you want to refer back to something, you will have the information to go back to. So just quickly to provide an overview of ANJAC, for those of you who maybe don't know who we are a 55-year-old nonprofit organization who works to support municipalities in making good decisions about the environment and for healthier communities. And we do that primarily by working with ECs, so environmental commissions and committees, but we also work with green teams, open space committees, DPWs, and we're thrilled to be working with our clean community coordinator specifically today. And we implement our mission and our programs in a way that we hope ensures equitable and healthy communities and embraces the diversity that New Jersey has. ANJAC works our mission in a number of ways. We have a resource center and 12 staff to answer your questions. We provide manuals, model ordinances, resource papers. We have webinars such as the one that we're having today and roundtable events for discussions. We have a quarterly magazine called the ANJAC Report, where we highlight the great work that's being done on the local level and share challenges and successes so that ECs, green teams, DPWs can learn from one another. We have two signature programs in addition to many webinars and roundtables monthly. Our first signature program for the year is our Fundamentals for Effective Environmental Commissions, and I'm sure we'll post the link to that at some point during today in the chat if you're interested in registering. So if you're on an EC or on a land use board and you're saying, oh my gosh, what does this mean? How do I review site plan applications? How do I review a stormwater plan? How do I set goals for the year or build relationships? I'm not an engineer. I'm not a professional in this. This is the course for you. This is your spring training, your EC boot camp, and it's March 12, 13, and 14 this year. Our other signature program is in the fall. So September 27th, hold the date for our annual Environmental Congress, which is an amazing day of hundreds of local advocates and municipal officials that come together to learn from one another in a day-long educational conference with about 12 different sessions on everything from stormwater management to tree protection, flooding, open space protection, et cetera, et cetera. So we're thrilled to be doing this work. ANJAC also does a lot of work in Trenton. So in addition to the work we do to support municipalities at the local level and our 5,000 plus members, we are a voice in Trenton for municipalities and specifically for environmental commissions. So we're able to see commonality of issues and struggles and highlight them to the legislature, the governor's office, and the DEP for either funding or streamlining regulations or assistance from those state level agencies. And ANJAC is specifically working in 2024 on building on the work that we've done in the past. A lot of our focus is on stormwater management because stormwater is an increasingly important issue for us to focus on, giving the impacts of climate crisis that we're experiencing. So we're seeing more precipitation volume, we're seeing more frequency of flooding, we're also seeing a lot of infrastructure money coming into New Jersey, and we're seeing more requirements for compliance with regard to the MS4 permit that we're going to talk about today, the municipal separate storm sewer permit. So ANJAC will be doing more outreach, more resources focused on compliance with the MS4 permit. We're also working with the DEP on the requirement that I know can sound scary because it is a big undertaking regarding the watershed implementation planning. So if you are not a member of ANJAC, we encourage you to be one. Many municipalities are. If you're not, you'll likely be hearing from us and reaching out to you because we have resources for our environmental commissions, but also beyond, for our clean community members, for our DPW. And one of the things that we are really trying to influence or encourage is the coordination between DPW, clean communities, ECs, green teams, because there's a lot of work to be done on stormwater management. There's also a lot of work to be done on plastic pollution reduction, and ANJAC was one of the leading advocates for plastic pollution reduction, which has a stormwater tie-in. So we're seeing a lot fewer floatables that are being picked up in litter cleanups, and we want to encourage municipalities to really continue to lean into plastic pollution reduction in their communities. We've got lots of other great work on renewable energy and climate resiliency and municipal climate hazard assessment. So we hope that you will consider being a member of ANJAC, being a municipal member. And so you will be hearing from us. We'll be reaching out to you. ANJAC is a nonprofit organization, and we're able to hold programs like this because of support today from our Clean Communities partner. So thank you, Joanne, but also from individual donors, from foundations, from corporate sponsors, and from municipal members like you. So thank you for being here today. And we encourage you to follow us. So all of our programming is posted on YouTube, and we will send out an email so that you will have special attention to this program when it is posted. Please also follow us on social media. We are most active on Facebook and on Instagram. And of course, check out our website at anjac.org. And for those of you who love the QR codes, you'll see that here. So thank you so much. I want to turn it over to Randy, who's going to introduce today's speakers, and I'm going to hang out in the background. So thank you, Randy. Thanks, Joanne. Thanks, Kendra.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. We have, as already mentioned, a very large crowd today. I think over 300 people have registered for this event, so that's just wonderful. So I'm happy to introduce both of our speakers today. First, we'll be hearing from Joanne Jamedin. Joanne just completed her third year as the Executive Director of New Jersey Clean Communities Council, where she was tasked with the implementation of New Jersey's statewide outreach and education program for the single-use plastics law, working to supply 500,000 reusable bags to the state's 7 food banks. Prior to this, Joanne served as the Bureau Chief of Recycling in Union County for 35 years, where she was both the Recycling and Clean Communities Coordinator. She has vast experience in environmental education and works to promote behavioral change when it comes to keeping New Jersey litter-free and reducing our reliance on plastic. Second, we're going to hear from Kendra McCoy from the Watershed Institute. She's going to talk to us about stormwater in the municipal separate storm sewer system permit, otherwise known as MS4. Kendra joined the Watershed Institute in May of 2021 as a Delaware River advocate, and then moved into the role of community engagement manager. Prior to that, Kendra was the STEM enrichment specialist for the Liberty Science Center, with her specialty being climate change, sustainability, and earth science programming. She applies her teaching experience and formal science background to working and engaging the communities in the greater Trenton area. She applies the same philosophy to community partnership that she keeps in her personal life. All relationships are about respect and reciprocity. So with that, Joanne, if you want to start, and I'm going to be in the background also trying to keep tabs on the Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randy. Before I can do a lot, but I'm generally technically challenged. So before I start, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me and see my screen.
It's perfect, Joanne.
Okay, well, I don't know about that. But I'm on a timeline, so I'm going to get going. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for lunching and learning with us today. New Jersey Clean Communities, I'm just going to give you a background on what our organization, who we are and what we do. First of all, as Randy said, my name is Joanne Jamenden. For those of you that don't know me, I'm the executive director of the New Jersey Clean Communities Council. And literally today is my 3rd anniversary. Technically, it's leap day, so it would have been today, but March 1st, 3 years ago is when I started. So happy leap day to everybody. New Jersey Clean Communities, we're a statewide nonprofit litter abatement organization. For those of you that don't know how it's funded, there is actually a tax on 15 different litter generating items. And that tax all goes into a pool, which I'll talk about in a minute, into the Clean Communities Fund. New Jersey Clean Communities was actually the first EPR legislation passed in New Jersey because it's a tax on the products. And just as an aside, in 2020, New Jersey Clean Communities was included in the single-use plastics law. We were the only non-government agency included in the law, and we were given the responsibility for developing a statewide education and outreach program. So back to the Clean Communities grants. So I said all the money from this tax goes into a pool, and then that money is then given back. 80% of the funds go back to municipalities, 10% goes to counties, and 10% goes to the DEP to go back and implement your own local litter abatement, education, and enforcement programs. In 2023, $24 million in clean community funding was given out. That's a really remarkable number. And, you know, I said before, this is an EPR bill. So just so you know, for those advocating for a bottle bill locally, just know that if that law were to pass, your Clean Communities funding would not be available any longer. It does come in as state aid, so there's no application, just so you know going forward. My philosophy today is to give you specific resources so you can go get the information and have access to the information at your leisure. The old proverb, you can give a guy a fish and he eats for a day, or you can teach a person how to fish and they eat for a lifetime. So I'm going to try to teach you, or help you learn for a lifetime, to give you some information that New Jersey Clean Communities has available. So first and foremost, njclean.org is our main website. It's been around for many, many years and hopefully will continue to be there. The website name is at the top of this slide, so write it down and keep that for a later date. And I just want you to know what information is available on our website. A lot of people want to know who the local coordinator is. So go to the coordinator tab, and the first one is all your county coordinator contacts. A lot of people also want to know about their grant funding. That's available also on this webpage. Click on grant funding, and the amount that your town has received back to 2003 is available. We also have best practices information. We update it annually. It's a plethora of education, enforcement, and cleanup information also available on our website. I'm not going to go into it. I'm just letting you know this resource is available. Our other website, Litter Free NJ. We have a whole reusable bag resource I'm going to talk about in a minute, but I want to focus right now on downloads. This website we started for the single-use plastics outreach campaign, and we developed a ton of free downloads in seven different languages. They all are there today, and we continue to add to it. It includes social media posts, logos, web banners, sandwich board signs, flyers, videos, PSAs, and so on. Again, I'm teaching you how to fish when you're ready. Why we're here today. Stormwater management regulations are probably someone's job in your town. Clean communities, every town has one, has a clean communities coordinator. My question to you right now is, if you're a clean communities coordinator, do you know who in your town is responsible for doing stormwater management permits, MS4 permits? And I've challenged the person who's doing MS4 permits, do you know who your clean communities coordinator is? This is important because we have a big overlap in our mandates and in our what we're charged to do every day relative to stormwater education. Every municipality in New Jersey is required to conduct 12 points worth of activities that educate residents about the importance of managing stormwater. So I'm excited that we're going to learn about it today, and I'm not going to steal Kendra's thunder. I just want to really point out what our role in stormwater education is. We want to involve the community, foster a sense of responsibility, and encourage active participation in litter prevention. We want to raise awareness and obviously encourage sustainable behaviors and do public outreach. That's something we both have in common. More importantly, Clean Communities coordinators have to file a statistical report every year outlining what they've done relative to litter education. Many of these things are applicable if you're the under your MS4 permit. So I encourage you all to share that. Find out who your MS4 contact is and share what you're doing, because they can use that in their report to the DEP and vice versa. If you're the MS4 person and you're doing outreach, let the Clean Communities person know, because they will also benefit by being able to report those activities in their statistical reports. I hope that made sense to everybody. So finally, I want to share with you some of the resources that we have available to meet those 12 points for outreach. We have a lot of litter education already. I talked about the downloads page. These are, I think, 3-foot by 6-foot banners that we already have produced and available that you can take and upload and print your own retractable banners. We have litter PSAs already. We created one on Bag Up NJ, which was to get everybody ready for the bag law. We have one on cigarette butt litter and general litter. I'm going to share the one on cigarette litter in a minute. And we have 2 upcoming PSAs in the spring, one on balloon releases, preventing balloon releases, and one just on general plastic. So if you can bear with me for 30 seconds, I'm hopefully everyone's going to be able to.
Cigarette litter is a serious problem in New Jersey. It's unsightly and harmful to the environment, as cigarette filters never fully decompose. When washed into storm drains, they end up in our waters, leaching toxic chemicals and poisoning marine life. Billions of cigarette butts are tossed out each year, making them the most littered item on our roads and beaches. Please dispose of them properly in a trash can or ashtray. Together, we can make a difference. Find out more at litterfreenj.com. Sponsored by New Jersey Clean Communities Council.
So I will let you know that I have already sent the cigarette PSA and the general litter PSA to all of the county coordinators. You're welcome to have it. We, really try to create resources that everybody can take and utilize at no cost. So if you don't know who your county coordinator is, this is a reason to find them. So we have PSAs, we have downloadable material. We also have other resources, education programs that are on our website, one of which is a litter activity book. What great way to educate our kids. It's already available, it's already done, and it has all litter related activities within the book. We have a litter awareness calendar. Here's a listing of some of the topics that are included. Again, it's on our website. You can download it for free. You can reach out to your county coordinator as well, because they have these resources available locally. I also want to touch on our reusable bag resource initiative. Single-use plastic law, one of the things that came out of it was an abundance of single-use plastics. We have worked with the New Jersey Food Council for the latter part of 2023 to develop an encompassing resource for you to use to donate bags. Here's the QR code. Here's the link tree. These are some of the links that are provided. If you go to this website, this is going to be available on grocery store receipts. So people have bags they want to donate. There's locations to donate near you, as well as a whole bunch of other information. What may be of particular interest to NJAC members is the plastic waste calculator. You can put your zip code in and find out how many bags were avoided, plastic bags were avoided since the law went into effect. And these are some of the things available on our reusable bag toolkit if you want to do a reusable bag collection program. Finally, if you're doing litter cleanups, which towns have to as part of their mandate for their grant, we encourage you to do some metrics so we know what you're finding out there and what the next big ticket item is that we need to address in New Jersey. And final reminder, don't forget to sign up for our monthly newsletter, which is on njclean.org right there. I put a star next to it. And that's it for me today. So Kendra, I think I'm going to turn this over to you. Hopefully I kept within my 12-minute time frame.
You're doing great in my book, so we're all good. All right, give me just a quick second to make sure I am share. Where is the share thing? I just lost it. I would happily take help from one of our other hosts. Oh, it's a green button. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just been one of those times. Current slide. Come on, from current slide. There we go. And I'm going to move this. All right.
Looks
So,
good.
It looks good. Great. Thank you. I like that. I like that positive reinforcement. I need it. All right. So my name is Kendra McCoy. I am the Community Engagement Manager for the Watershed Institute, and I'm here to talk to you about MS4 in your community, finding and then reaching the people. There we go. So let's review the new MS4 permit because it has changed in the last year and 4 months. So MS4 stands for the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit. And it's a conveyance or system of conveyances that move stormwater. And you can go to the permit to get more detail, but this is everything from the drainage systems to streets, to curbs, gutters, ditches, all those things that move it away. It now requires a watershed improvement plan that occurs over the course of 5 years, but 3 phases, and we'll get into that. Public engagement is required for some of the requirements, but is highly beneficial for many aspects of the MS4 permit, which we'll get into as it comes up. So some of the unchanged requirements, there's still that same local public education and outreach requirements, and it's broken up into 5 categories that you can scoop points from, and you can't get all your points from all one category. If you have questions about this, shoot me an email. We'll talk more about it later. So category 1, that's the general public outreach. That's your wide burst of information going to everybody. And for this, my advice to you is really think about how to get the most bang for your buck, and also really think about how you can prioritize having dual language as a part of this. There's been a lot of studies that Spanish speakers are left out of a lot of the outreach related to the environment, and it's had negative to disastrous results of people not understanding the risk to them or their family in situations. So some examples of this would be green sign infrastructure, or I really love mural paintings and stormwater drains. It's a great way to really draw attention to that and get people to get more interested. All right. Category 2, this is when you're getting a little bit more targeted. So promotional items, stormwater displays in certain locations, a mailing campaign, or specific ordinance education. I've seen really good results from communities that try to double dip as much as possible and do the outreach on something that is going to be kept in the community for a long time. So let's say a important contacts list of, government and social services within your town, or on the calendar, things like that. And there are plenty of resources from organizations like Joanne's, this Clean Water NJ, my own, that can give you examples of things that can be sent out. My advice to you is don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. If there's great tools out there, use it. Category 3 is schools, youth, education, and activities. This is a great time to get student groups involved, scouts groups. I'm going to talk a little bit more about getting schools involved in the MS4 permit, involved in the outreach of it. But the big advice I am going to say is, as someone that used to work with teachers, talk with your teachers directly, not necessarily your administrators, but try to connect with them about what they're doing in the classroom and how it can feed into it. And I'll get into that in a bit. But these projects include, storm drain labeling. And again, here's a spot where Clean Communities funds can be used for a cleanup. So it's not all on your community to find a way, to find the tools, to find the money. There are resources for you. All right. Now, this is one of the big pushes of the new MS4 program permit, which is watershed or regional planning and collaboration. There's this drive to get people to stop thinking within their municipal boundaries and start thinking in their watershed boundaries, because clearly addressing stormwater and flooding within your municipality only, it has not been a solution. This is things where community cleanups, maintenance, that kind of stuff. And I would advise the smaller communities, smaller municipalities, try to connect with other municipalities within your watershed. This can be a heavy lift if you're relatively small. See what your neighbors are doing. Because the outreach does allow for you to collaborate with neighboring municipalities. There's also the community involvement activities. These are going to be a little bit more involved. These are things like workshops or stormwater assessment or stream monitoring. I want to do a little shout out to Franklin Township, who did a great job using the Adopt a Drain program and applying its digital resources. I think sometimes towns miss that second step of really applying their marketing and outreach resources that they've gotten for free. I've got a little picture of a rain barrel workshop that was run by the Watershed Institute's River Friendly Coordinator, Olivia, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that program. All right, so let's talk about the new requirements. The big thing that's new that's relevant for this discussion is the Watershed Improvement Plan. As I said, it occurs over 5 years, but in 3 phases. We are still currently in phase 1. Phase 1 started on January 1st, 2023, and ends 3 years from that date exactly. And I would say that the Watershed Inventory Report is this point where it's great to get a lot of community input, because the inventory report is asking about so many data points that change both spatially and temporally, in terms of you can be at the same spot several days and see very different stormwater issues, that you want to involve as much of the community as possible to have as many eyes out there reporting and logging things. Now, the modified requirements is that now each municipality, my words are doing great today. Each municipality has to have a dedicated stormwater page on its municipal website, and it has a long list of things that are required in that. This requirement was set three months from the start date of the permit, or 12 months, depending on whether you are new or old permittee. And long story short, every municipality should have a stormwater management website up today on February 29th, 2024. So we're gonna get into like the real stuff. And my big message is, what got you here is not going to get you there. When trying to do outreach, there's been overlooked, overburdened minority groups that have been excluded. And by employing the same types of methods that you've been using for 5, 10, 15 years, depending on the age of your municipality, depending on your work, you're still going to miss those same people. You're applying the same sort of tools. So here's some changes for you guys to think about. First, you need to go where the people are. Get out in the community. So much of my job is going to where people are located. to try to communicate them about this issue. I've spoken with municipal officials about, like, even though you did everything by the book and released, you know, the public notification of the meeting, you're not necessarily going to get good buy-in. And if you are trying to reach a community that is overburdened, overstressed, you need to go where they are, because there's too many obstacles to engagement there, and you need to remove some of them. You can do that also by tagging onto other community events. I've seen or other neighboring events. I've seen government entities look inward about what are other departments doing, and can we tag on to something that Parks and Rec is doing? Can we tag on to something that the education department is doing? It's not all on the sewer, zoning and planning, or whoever this is falling under. And the other thing I'm going to say is utilize existing groups in your town. Think a little bit outside the box. I've seen religious organizations do environmental stewardship sort of as a religious responsibility as stewards of the earth. But I've also seen good work done by neighborhood or homeowner associations or civic associations. They can be especially helpful in figuring out locations of flooding, major issues, bad actors when it comes to pollution dumping. I also want to say, don't discount how useful outdoor recreation groups can be. I do a bulk of my work in Trenton, and I was surprised to learn that Trenton is apparently a skating hub. It's a milestone for a lot of people to come down, skate in Trenton, because it has a very authentic sort of industrial vibe that presents a lot of opportunities. But a lot of those sites are actually in the floodplain, which is why they're abandoned. So the skaters actually have a vested interest in stormwater management and working to make sure it doesn't get worse or report it. So depending on your community, you want to be thinking like, okay, is there a strong jogging culture here? Are there outdoor sports, something like that, and get them involved. They're outside anyway. Now, remember I was talking about schools? All right, so try to connect back MS4 to the curriculum. Now, in a past life, I was an informal science educator, and I taught from pre-K to 12 on different science topics. I did a lot of work with the next generation science standards, which, if you don't know, are very, very similar / the same as the New Jersey science standards. And in my work, I was looking, how can I connect flooding, stormwater management, natural disasters, human impacts, all that kind of stuff to different grade bands related to the MS4. And as you can see, there's lots of ways to connect. So again, work with your teachers, talk to them about what you're trying to do, see if you can both be served by the same action. Now, tip 2, humans are amazing, beautiful creatures, but we also operate computers made out of meat. And when we don't know something, we tend to guess. And when we guess, we tend to guess wrongly and then hold on to that view until it's disputed. So a lot of what you need to understand is for the long-term success of the MS4 permit, success of the WIP, and greater collaboration between municipalities, you need to correct these misunderstandings, but it's a little tricky. So I would say that this guessing machine is way too common. And the way you want to address misconceptions is you want to correct it without reiterating it. There's this funny thing about humans that if we hear a myth, we hear the correction or the debunking, time passes. And then with that time, we forget the debunking explanation because it's usually more complicated than the myth. And we just remember that we heard something about the myth. And we're like, oh, I heard something about that. I guess it must be true. So do your best not to repeat it back to them as you can. You want to make your topic, whatever you're talking about, really sticky, tangible for the people to understand and to take away and maybe share with other people. All right. Repetition is really important in getting people to connect with your message. You also want to use concrete language, again, so people can translate that to others. And I want to say repetition is really important to getting people to understand why something is important and hold on to it. And also connecting back to their personal experience, whether it be things they experienced during the flood, experiences as a child and how things have changed, or just their life and how it impacts them. That's going to make it more applicable, especially for populations or individuals that aren't engaged because they're too busy trying to satisfy their other major needs in life. And the last thing I want to add is repetition is so key in getting people to sink in with that message. All right. Another tip, listen. And listening is not just that quiet time before it's your turn to speak. It's really taking things in. And I've worked in a lot of communities that were hard hit by flooding events, Ida, Sandy, and even the winter storm that was too small to name this past month, but still big enough to displace people. And one thing I've gotten used to is hearing a lot of passionate feelings when it relates to flooding, and also some off-topic comments. And the best advices I can give is treat this person like a person. And sometimes humans just need to vent and feel like somebody's listening, even if that person can't do something about it. And who knows, maybe in the future, it'll make a difference. That person will come back to you to engage on the topic. Furthermore, listening needs to take different forms for your community. Of course, formal listening sessions are great, but you might need to do physical or digital surveys. You might need to be out at, your town's founder day or something else, working with people. I also want to say, think about outreach and using geospatial tools to map issues. This is really going to serve that part one of the WIP process, making that watershed inventory report. All right, now I gotta give you some bonus tips. And it's that you should be working with your watershed associations. On the map at the left, you can see the Watershed Institute in blue. Red is the Rahway River Watershed Association. Green is the Water Supply Authority, and yellow is the Raritan Headwaters Association. And there are other groups out there, but these are the groups that administer river-friendly certifications. Now, if you're looking at this map and you say, I'm not in here, I'm outside that range, I guarantee there is some form of a watershed or environmental organization in your area that works in that area or wants to. If you struggle, shoot me an email. That's the end note of my presentation. If you struggle, shoot me an email. But one of the other things you can do is the River Friendly program, which does education outreach for individuals, businesses, schools, and golf courses on how to adopt river-friendly practices, both physical changes and behavior changes. And would you look at that? It satisfies some of the outreach requirements. Isn't that handy? Another one is the Streamwatch program that we run. We do chemical, biological, and bacterial data collection with volunteers that we train. This is another point where you can engage with your community and get your residents involved. We are actually even expanding this into a Streamwatch schools program that is just taking off. So if you are in our area, you should, and you're interested, you should get in on it now before we don't have room. And again, look at that. It's more community outreach points that you can get. Another thing I want to talk about is the regional work that the Watershed Institute is doing. This falls under category 4. Some of the ways that we're trying to facilitate regional work is by forming watershed work groups. We've done this for the Stony Brook Millstone watershed. We've done this for the Assunpink watershed, and by providing in-person roundtables, virtual work group meetings, check-ins, resource library. And if you're sitting here like, I'm not in either one of those groups, or I don't know, don't worry, all these things are freely available. This is just a platform to sort of organize it in one spot and specify it to a geographic location. In fact, we have a lot of different resources on stormwater and green infrastructure, policy and regulatory overviews. We have webinars that are on a technical level for environmental professionals like lawyers, engineers, municipal leaders, but we also have Watershed Wednesdays that's more for the community, either breaking down one of these major ideas into a better bite-sized piece, or more on an environmental focus. We also have a model enhanced stormwater ordinance. We just updated that in 2023. And it's great to look at as part of the MS4 is your stormwater ordinance. And coming soon is the enhanced tree protection ordinance and the model enhanced stream corridor ordinance. It's coming soon, like the next Game of Thrones book is coming soon by George R.R. Martin, that I fully expect it and believe in it, but I can't tell you a date yet. And I just want to say thank you for having me. I have my information there, but I've also included my colleagues and the programs that they run in case you want to reach out and learn more. And from here, I'll turn it over to our hosts.
Thanks so much, both Joanne and Kendra. That was wonderful presentations. We actually have a few questions in the Q&A. I think we haven't enough time to address them because we finished in a timely fashion. Okay. One question that came up was it was a question of who actually handles the MS4 coordinator. The question was, is it mainly usually the municipal engineers, or is it someone else in the municipality that is the program coordinator for the MS4 in municipalities? If someone wants to.
I can chime in. It's different at every municipality because the structure funding is different. I've found that sometimes the best way to get these kind of answers is to start with calling the town clerk or calling relevant departments and asking. But it's really going to depend. I want to say that it should be clearly labeled on the stormwater webpage for the municipality, but I don't want to make that promise. Yeah.
But I think that was kind of the charge for our webinar today, is if you don't know who they are, find out and meet them. There's so many overlapping programs between Clean Communities and MS4 that it's going to serve you well to introduce each other and partner when you do outreach. And in case I didn't mention before, if I can chime in, because we're so worried about going over, I rushed through a lot of stuff. But one important aspect is Clean Communities funding outside of litter abatement and education and enforcement does have a stipulation in the guidelines whereby you can spend up to 25% of your grant on stormwater related activities. So I think that's an important item to share.
This
I
one
just wanna
specific.
weigh
Go
in
ahead.
and underscore what both Kendra and Joanne said, and say that the best approach to MS4 is really a collaborative one. And so if you, I'm sure nobody here would ever say that, but if someone says that's X, Y, or Z's job, don't worry about it, feel free to contact us and we can help you brainstorm on how to break down some of those barriers and improve coordination, because there's a lot in the new MS4 permit and there's going to be more moving forward. So this isn't a one person job. This really does require cross coordination between the EC, DPW, the engineer, municipal officials, so they're aware of budgeting. And so it really does need to be a collaborative approach, and we can help you brainstorm and work on that if need be.
Jen, if I can throw something out, New Jersey Clean Communities does a monthly newsletter. Maybe, I'm not sure what the timing of the MS4 permits are, but maybe like 2 months before everything is due, you guys could put together an article and we could share that, basically what you just said, all about collaboration and the 12 points of activities. I think that would be,
Great. Yeah, let's definitely coordinate.
okay.
And Kendra, maybe you can just chime in on what the due dates are for some of them. It's a 5-year permit.
Yeah.
So if you want to just elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, because the watershed inventory report is the first 3 years, and then phase 2 is the second to last year, and then phase 3. The bulk of work is the watershed inventory report, and it's front loaded. So it's like, it's one of those that I'm telling all the municipalities I work with, like, start this now, start this now. Like, it's a big project, start it now.
But the educational outreach can be done anytime during the 5 years.
Yes. But my attitude is, it's having community buy-in early is only going to make your life easier. And because there's so much to map with the watershed inventory report, towns would be making more work for themselves if they did the watershed inventory report all on their own or with their staff in the first 3 years and then did outreach afterwards. You might be missing so many people that would have been willing to help you map or clean things or do stuff.
And this is
Go ahead.
Going on to the next question. This is just really specific for you, Joanne. I think is basically is someone from Morris County is just wanting to know if you will provide polystyrene recycling for municipalities.
Yeah, that's the wrong webinar.
Yeah, I know. It's it's like it was a question I just thought through. I didn't think it applied here, but
And polystyrene was banned in New Jersey for the most part up, so. Yeah, but wrong webinar today. But Kendra, I would, I'd like to maybe incorporate some different elements on our njclean.org website as well. We have a whole resources page. So maybe we can add something just on stormwater management.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, we're big into partnering. I think, we all, there's at the government level, there's so much more to do with less these days. So the more information we can provide at one resource, I think the better, and the more we collectively, like Jen said, collaborate and partner together, helps everyone.
Well, I often say, like, listen, we didn't get in this environmental situation from one municipality, one bad actor, one industry. We all have a part of it. So it makes sense that we all have a part in the solution, like from individuals and communities, but between governments. Like the start of the problem and the solution have to be balanced in the same way.
Yeah. Randy, do we have any other questions?
yes, hold on.
Oh.
I had the questions up and then my screen went down. Let me just bring it back up.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
read it.
but by definition, if you have an MS4, does that mean you don't have a CSO? There's just a clarification on that definition.
I don't know. Jen, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
All municipalities have an MS4 permit.
Yeah. One of the big changes is there used to be tier B and tier A towns, and tier B tend to be smaller towns that didn't have to have an MS4 permit or have a very toned down one. One of the big changes, everybody's a tier A now, and we're just giving tier B towns a bit more time for some of the requirements, but they have to meet all the same things by the end of year 5.
Right.
Okay, another question would be, could some of the municipality grant funds received be used to purchase proper cigarette disposal stations for municipalities owned by parks and for outside municipal buildings? That's for the clean community.
Absolutely. We actually just partnered with TerraCycle. If you were down at the league, we had a big cigarette collection bin from TerraCycle. And they actually donated that as a giveaway for our Sustainability in Motion conference next week. So absolutely, I will try to find Eric's email and put it in the chat in a minute. But yeah, they have cigarette collection bins. They actually pay for the shipping, but Clean Communities funds can be used to purchase the containers. And it's not really even considered your stormwater management funds, so that wouldn't go towards the 25% limit.
I would just caution to be aware of sending mixed messages, because it is illegal to smoke in state parks and on beaches. So in many municipal parks, that is also the case now. So you want to make sure you're not
Thanks,
putting
Eric.
a cigarette disposal station where it's not legal to smoke anyway. I understand that some people violate the law and will smoke there anyway, but you want to be cautious of sending mixed messages.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Jen, because that has been such a problem, because those towns that have banned smoking have taken away those containers, which has only led to increased littering. So TerraCycle has a sign with their cigarette butt container that says, "Please be reminded we are smoke-free. Please deposit your cigarette butt here." Because taking them out doesn't negate litter. It actually promotes litter. So that's a really valid point, but please don't, if you have an anti-smoking ban in your parks or public places, it doesn't mean you can't collect cigarette butts, because some people just don't know, and use that as a way to advocate to not smoke and not litter at the same time.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. Someone missed the information about the tax for how the
It's in the chat.
money.
I took
So
it's not a tax on business, it's a tax on
It's
litter
on-
generating items. There's 15 different items. If you go to njclean.org under about, there's a link for legislation, but which has the Clean Communities Act from the original one back in 2000. Well, there's a bunch of different methods, but they're all in there on njclean.org. But I just took a chunk out of that references what the tax is. It's like 0.002% on those 15 items, which are also listed in the legislation.
Okay, the question is, can the town include outreach projects that were done in 2023 to meet the new MS4 requirements? And I believe the answer to that is yes, because the permit started actually in 2023. So anything done in 2023 is definitely would
Correct.
meet your go towards the outreach education for the MS4.
And I love that question, and whoever did that outreach, please make sure you find your MS4 contact and share what you've done. That's, you know, basically the whole point of doing our Lunch and Learn today.
General question for you, I guess, Joanne. Can clean community money be used for street sweeping rentals?
Sure. You can use up to 25% of your grant money on stormwater related projects or equipment.
And then there's a question to share any more information about the Adopt a Drain program in New Jersey and who to contact for that. I did put a link in the chat about the New Jersey Adopt a Drain, but if you want to chime in a little bit more about that program, Kendra or
And
Joanne.
that is, before Kendra, you get into the specifics, I will say you can use your Clean Communities grant funds to do the Adopt a Drain program, because this, you have to get the software from the university in, I'm going to get that wrong, so I'll leave that to Kendra.
I don't know it that far, but I was gonna say,
Oh.
yeah, it's available online. So simply searching Adopt a Drain New Jersey, and then you can have people sign up for specific drains or mark them on a map. And basically it involves duties of like maintenance of the drain before and after storm, and also notation of other stuff and data collection. I actually was looking into it personally for myself for a little bit. I can't speak too much more about other examples or other experiences with it. Oh, yep, Joanne's got it.
I can. We gave the township of Westfield actually received I want to say a grant, but if not, awards from Sustainable Jersey for their Adopt a Storm Drain program. So if you go to the town of Westfield's website, it's amazing. They were the leader, but there's been a lot of towns since then that have done an Adopt a Storm Drain program. We gave Westfield an award last year, and we're giving 2 towns awards next week at our annual award ceremony for doing an Adopt a Storm Drain. And if anybody knows the name of the Hamlin University, yeah, see, I have that delayed old lady brain. So Hamlin University is the one that has the software that you can purchase with your Clean Communities funds. And Westfield has a great video, but you can buy buckets if you want to give your volunteers buckets and gloves. But I think for the most part, they generally do them on their own.
I think we covered most of the questions. You see anything else, Liz, that should be addressed? I don't think so.
No, I think you covered most of them. Thank you, Randy.
Great. Well,
Okay,
thank
then
you, Kendra.
yeah.
Thank you, Joanne, Randy, Liz. Randy, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna ask, was there any final words that Joanne or Kendra wanted to add, or before we
I
close
just
up?
really want to say thank you to Anjek and obviously to Kendra. This was, you know, an initiative. We have a certification program for our coordinators, and they have to get 20 credits every 2 years. And you know, this is a great way to get them credits and to get them to learn about different things going on in New Jersey. So thank you for assisting with doing outreach with us and partnering with us on this. And I think we have another one this year too.
Wonderful. Well, then we look forward to seeing many of you back. Please do follow ANJAC, and we will be in touch with you. Inquire if you are a member of ANJAC as well, because we've got lots of programming for you. We were able to bring this to you today for free because of Joanne has underwritten the cost of bringing this forward. So we appreciate all of you. We appreciate, Kendra, you dedicating your time to us today. And we look forward to working with all of you moving forward on the MS4 permits, because the goal there is cleaner water, safer communities, better environment. So thank you, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.